Here's an example of a question where maybe one of the hardest parts of solving it is reading the English. Here we have Jenny, who went to buy 78 flowers for a party. She bought exactly the right amount of money to buy the flowers, but realized that she forgot to bring money for the bus, which cost $5 round trip. With all the rest of the money, she ended up buying 72 flowers. How much did those 72 flowers cost in total? The difficulty piece here is to understand what is the story talking about. And also to notice that even though I see numbers like 78 and 72, there's another number inside, which is here, which is 5. So the idea is that in English, actually, sometimes the numbers are written just in letters instead of with digits. But what this means, when you think about it, is that $5 is the net cost of 6 flowers. So if we're trying to see exactly what happened, what we understand is that $5 gives you 6 flowers. And the question is asking you, what happens to 72 flowers? Well, at that point, if I see that 6 goes to 72 by a times 12, then I should take 5 times 12, and I will find an answer of 5 times 12, which is $60. And so that's actually the answer to the entire question. This is a very short question once you understand it. The only other thing I wanted to add in this question is something about familiar numbers. 78 is actually a very familiar number whenever you do these kinds of math problems, because 78 is a very small something times something. Here's another way to use that observation to quickly do the question in a very similar way. If you knew that 78 was 6 times 13, which is actually something I do whenever I look at numbers in a problem, I usually try to see, do I know of them as something times something? Then here I have a 6 times 13, and over here my 72 is a 6 times 12. So another way of thinking about this is that from 6 times 13 I went down to 6 times 12. And so this $5 is one thing, and that's out of the 13 splits into a 12 things and a 1 thing. And if the 1 thing is the $5, then the 12 things is the 12 times 5, or $60. These are just different ways to see the same explanation. But at the same time, it's hopefully introducing an idea that some of these numbers come up very frequently. And in the end, when doing these kinds of questions, the best thing to do when reading the English is to try to read carefully to make sure that you understand the whole story, because then the mathematics after that might not be that hard.